Alrighty. So first of all, I just want to say that for the past couple of days, I've been pretty much been sounding like this. I have completely lost my voice in these last couple of days, and unfortunately, it hasn't fully recovered. But because of the fact that I still have to do the review for these midweek games and then the Fourth of July game, and originally I was actually gonna go all out in terms of doing these midweek and Fourth of July game, just pretty much put into one video. There's no way with this voice that I'm able to do that. And hell, I don't even know if I can even make it to the end of this video. My voice could sound really, really bad by the end of this video. So yeah, I do apologize that that, of course, is the case. But that being said, let us actually get into the first game. And also, if you hear a fan in the background, that's because I have the fan on. It is really hot right now where I live. In fact, it's been hot for the past couple of days. We've been going for a bit of a heat wave here in the Bay Area and in California in general for the past couple of days. But we start off with the first game that is Charlotte FC and Inter Miami. And I gotta say, Inter Miami, they continue to prove me and a lot of doubters wrong about how things have been for them. I mean, I question in terms of whether they can keep winning with the way that they don't have Messi and some of their best player, but yet they're still doing this, both home and on the road. And once again, I just gotta say, if you're an FC Cincinnati fan, you have to be absolutely infuriated. The fact that every time you, of course, win games, and they themselves has also gone on a good run, but yet they just cannot pass Inter Miami. It's almost like it's been given this season that no one can pass Inter Miami. Inter Miami is basically like Gandalf in that movie where it says, "You shall not pass," in terms of the first place, not only in the Eastern Conference, but also the Supporter Shield standing as well. Now, early on, I thought Charlotte was on the front foot early, though there was no shots for the first 10 minutes of this game. Man with the game's first shot, but he missed wide before Vargas was in on goal, but he missed wide there. I thought Charlotte continued to have possession, but they really struggled to create a lot of chances. There was a lack of creativity. That's not a big surprise because that's been the thing we have seen with Charlotte throughout the season. Counter would then denied Ajiman from close. The shots were 5-0 for Charlotte 30 minutes into this game, but then in the 30th minute, on really the first shot for Miami in this entire game, Robert Taylor would score from Alba and Kamaski to give Inter Miami a 1 nothing lead. And like I said, that was the first shot for Miami, and it was kind of completely against the run of play because up to this point, Miami was kind of a bit of a no-show in this one. And that's kind of the thing when you face against Inter Miami. It doesn't take a lot for them to show up. And if they have one good quality attack and one quality chances, you better believe that they're going to take advantage and basically buried that. Ajiman then looked to respond, but he was denied by the post, and then he had a shot that was deflected and goes wide. I thought it was a good response for Charlotte. Again, anytime when you, of course, have been the better team and you give up a goal on the other end and get sucker punch, you can easily lose your momentum and get rattled. But Charlotte did a good job in terms of pressing to try to get the equalizer, and they were rewarded by that by getting a goal in the 42nd minute. As Ajiman would score from Unan to give Charlotte the equalizer, they actually took a very long VAR look to confirm this goal. I mean, it took, I think, like 3 or 4 minutes before they finally say, "Yep, it's a good goal." So yeah, that ties the game up at one apiece. Gomez did look to respond for Miami, but he hits it right to Kalina before Jordi Alba flashed one wide from close range, and then Vargas would blast one to South Carolina in the fourth minute of stoppage time. And again, it's been action packed at least late in the stoppage time as both of these teams was pushing for a late first half lead, but we do head to halftime with the score line tied up at one apiece. Now, in the second half, Kamaski would puts it wide from close before Campana puts it wide as the flag went up. I thought Miami looked like they were the better team, and they definitely had more of the chances in the second half. Though on the other end, Ajiman would miss high from close before Kalina denied Gomez on the doorstep of goal. But then in the 86th minute, Inter Miami takes the lead back. It's Kamaski. He scored from Gresso to give Miami a 2-1 lead. Lovely delivery there from Julian Gresso. And we know Benjamin Kamaski can get himself in a good spot. and he does here with an outstretched leg to poke that one in. And yeah, that gave Miami a 2-1 lead. Landa did look to answer, but he missed wide there. And then Ajiman actually was given his marching order. He must have said something to one of the Miami player that was worthy of a red card. To be fair, he was already on a second yellow card as well. So, it could, if he was going to get sent for a yellow, he would have been sent off either way. But the referee, of course, showed a straight red up to that point. Privet then puts it high on the back post, as that was really the last chance that Charlotte has. As in the end, Miami, they continue to win and continue to defy all those doubters wrong that they can't win without Messi and friends, as they win 2-1 in this one. Shots in this one, 14 shots for the 7 that Miami has. So Charlotte double the amount of shots that Miami has, but Miami had double the shots on goal, with 4 shots on goal compared to 2 that Charlotte has. Once again, just to kind of shows you that shots are sometimes an overrated stats. It's about exactly if you're putting those quality chances, and Miami definitely had more of those quality chances and at least forced the goalkeeper Kalina to make more save than Calendar did in this one. 6 shots off target for the 2 that Miami has, 4 shots that was blocked for the 1 that Miami has, and possession wise, 52% possession compared to 48% possession that Charlotte has in this game. And like I said, again, Miami just continue to win. They go into a place that is really tough for opponent to win. Like not a lot of team is able to walk out of Bank of America Stadium with a point, let alone all 3 points. And again, this just showed you that, yeah, I might actually regret now predicting Miami to not make the playoffs. I remember I predicted them to not make the playoffs, and boy, I'll tell you that when I do make that video, looking back at all the prediction I make in the beginning of the season, I mean, usually I always get one team absolutely wrong, and I think that Inter Miami might be that team. So I won't be surprised. I might got some other team wrong as well, especially in the East. But that being said, again, I think I'm just gonna take a sip of water every time when I conclude a game because, like I said, my voice is gonna sound like this throughout the video. But moving on, we got DC versus FC Cincinnati. So, like I said, feels like it's a cat and mouse game right now. Every time when Cincinnati looked like they were going to take advantage of going ahead in the supporter shield standing, Miami keep getting wins. And yeah, for Cincinnati fan, they'll be kind of frustrated the fact that they're still stuck second place in the East and second overall in the supporter shield standing. But the good news is they're starting to become a bit of a distance between them and the rest of the league. Like they're just so far ahead from the rest of the Eastern Conference right now. But what Cincinnati fans will not be frustrated is them getting another win. This time on the road against DC, and it got off to a good start with Kevin Kelsey getting the first goal of the game. Though, yeah, it was an absolute gift for Cincinnati. Just a bit of a moment here from Tyler Miller. Not the first time we've seen before this season where a goalkeeper decided to play out of the back, didn't get it right, and then just kind of gift wrapped it a goal. In fact, we've seen it so many times where I don't need to repeat myself in terms of talk about my frustration in terms of seeing goalkeeper just making these mistake over and over again. And Tyler Miller, of course, is the latest victim there. So yeah, that gives Cincinnati a 1-0 lead. Kudibietro did look to respond, but he was denied by Sanatano before Herrera tried to chip Sanatano there from his own half, but that shot goes high. Sanatano then denied Stroud at to have a free header there. So yeah, Stroud definitely want to have that one back because that was a glorious chance for DC. But I thought it was a good response for DC as they were pressing, trying to get the equalizer, and they do. As Martin Rodriguez would score from Ted Kutubietro to tie the game up at 1 apiece. Oriano did look to respond on the free kick, but he puts it wide before Muriel would heads it wide from close range. But then in the 39th minute, Society takes the lead back. It's Buka. He scored from Oriano to give Cincinnati the lead back in this one. Santos did look to respond, and this is Pedro Santos, that is, because there was 2 Santos in this game. One of them of course played with each of these teams, but he put the why from close, that is Pedro Santos, and Oriano puts it high from long range in the second minute of stoppage time. And we do head to halftime with Cincinnati leading 2-1. In the second half, Santano denied Perani, but it actually fall right to Pedro Santos here, who skies that one. And I thought, once again, DC was on the front foot as they were looking to try to tie this game up, but instead it's Cincinnati, the one that restart, or not restart, but they now push this to a two-goal lead as it's Pavel Buka again. He scored from Assad and Sergio Santos to make it 3-1 in favor of Cincinnati. Pirani did look to answer, but he was denied by Salatano. But Pirani did get on the score sheet in the 69th minute. I think he had a good game. Pirani. He was definitely creating some really good chances, and it's only fitting the fact that eventually he did put one away. So he scored here from Rodriguez to make it 3-2 in this one. And then also would like to say it came out of a bad Cincinnati turnover. This is going to be a thing that Cincinnati absolutely need to address in the summer transfer window. And we said it before too that their defense has been a liability in the last couple of weeks. Fortunately for them is that their attack at times has kind of bailed them out, but it is pretty clear that they need some defensive help. And that's kind of ironic because in the beginning of the season it was the attack that was the big issue, and that their defense was by far head and shoulder the best defense in the league. And now it's kind of the opposite. Now it's their defense is basically the issue, and the attack, of course, is being very good. But again, part of that is because of injuries that they suffer at the back line. In fact, a lot of injuries that they suffer in the back line. We then go for a period where not really much has created, which I thought that favored Cincinnati, knowing that they're only leading by the one goal. Miller then denied Sergio Santos from close before Kubo would put one wide from close range as Cincinnati was looking to kill this game off. Santos then had a shot that was deflected and saved by Sautano at the second minute of stoppage time. And then at the third minute of stoppage time, it was Pedro Dos Santos would put it high in the near post. I say Sergio Santos had a shot that was deflected and saved by Sautano. I meant Pedro Santos, of course. This is the one. And I probably should have put P and S next to those two Santos names. Won't be the only time in this review where we're going to talk about there's two players, one for each team that has the identical last name. But in the end, Cincinnati, they do hold on to win 3-2 in this one. The shots in this one, 16 shots for the 13 that Cincinnati had, 6 shots on goal for the 7 that DC had. Both team had 5 shots that was off target, 3 shots that was blocked for the 2 that Cincinnati has, and possession-wise, 50% for both of these teams. And for Cincinnati, they of course keep pace with Inter Miami in terms of the supporter shield standings. But for DC, I mean, I thought that DC had definitely played much better compared to previous games, but they are still in a free fall right now. I mean, it has not been a great last month or so to be a DC United fan. This team has just completely fall apart after a great start that Troy Lesesne has got for this team, and now you kind of maybe can question whether or not if I mean I know that this might sound crazy, but maybe Troy Lesesne could be on the hot seat a little. And now that this team is going through a really bad run of form, and it's been going like that for the past month and a half as well. But that being said, moving on, in the next match is NYCFC versus Montreal, and overall it was a pretty easy win for NYCFC in this one. And I argue they probably could have scored more in this game, and the guy that scored the only 2 goals in this game probably could have had a hat trick in this one as well. And that guy I mentioned is Alonso Martinez, because 9 minutes in he would score from Wolf to give NYCFC a 1-0 lead. That was also the first shot of the game, and they actually had to go to VAR to see whether or not indeed Martinez was in an onside side position, because he was originally ruled offside and the goal was disallowed. But VAR look at it and it overruled the original offside decision. So yeah, that gave NYCFC a 1-0 lead. That also will be the only shot in the first 17 minutes of this game, as there was really not much chances created by both teams. Opoku was then in on goal, but he was absolutely robbed by Reese in the near post. And Joseph Martinez, on the other hand, would flash one wide from close range. Edwards then puts it wide from close, as I thought Montreal created some sustained pressure. They were looking to try to get the equalizer. So in the first minute of stoppage time, Alonso Martinez was in on goal here, but he not only didn't force Siwas to make a save, but he actually puts this one wide, and it was not close whatsoever as well. And that is definitely one that Alonso Martinez would want to have back. And these 1v1 opportunity, that was a theme in this game. NYCFC had a lot of 1v1 opportunity because Montreal Their defense, as it is the case throughout the season, times has been optional. Ibrahim then hits it right to freeze in the third minute stoppage time, but we do have to halftime with NYCFC leading 1-0. In the second half, Joseph Martinez would hits one right to freeze before Alonso Martinez would puts one wide from close. Joseph Martinez would then puts it wide from close range, and I thought it's been the battle of Martinez because again, both of these guys has been having some really good chances, and it seems like Alonso Martinez is now 2-0 up, not only on Montreal but also on Joseph Martinez because he would score again here this time for Wolf and Sands and kind of redeem himself after a bad miss that he had in the first half, and just like that, NYCFC was leading 2-0 in this one. Ojeda did look for NYCFC third, but he was denied by Siwas on a 1v1. And I thought NYCFC could have been 3 or 4-0 up. Again, these 1v1 opportunity, there was a lot for NYCFC to devour. Siwas then denied Wolf from close range for 0-2, puts it wide from long range in the 77th minute, and then Fernandez puts it right to Siwas in the 89th minute. But yeah, in the end, NYCFC, they get the 2-0 win, and the shots of this one, 15 shots with a 12 that Montreal has. 7 shots on goal with a 4 that Montreal has. 3 shots off target with a 4 that NYCFC had. 3 shots that was blocked with a 5 that Montreal has. And possession wise, 51% possession compared to 49% possession NYCFC had in this game. And like I said, overall, it was pretty easy. The victory for NYCFC against a Montreal side that has really struggled the season. And also, not to mention, NYCFC, it seems like they're back to winning ways. I mean, they had a bit of a bad run of form in the beginning of June, but as soon as they return home, it seems like they're good form that they had in May is starting to get back into them. And yeah, again, that's what you need to do in terms of making the playoffs. You need to win your home games, and NYCFC is definitely doing that a lot this season. With that being said, moving on in terms of the next match is Toronto and Orlando City. And I gotta say, for Toronto, yeah, it is pretty clear that TFC, at least in the last month or two, they have definitely started to turn into a team that what we expected this season. And in other words, it feels like the Cinderella run that TFC kind of had in the beginning of the season is all but over because these last couple of games, man, it's been rough to watch, at least if you're a TFC fan. No, it didn't looked like that was the case at least 5 minutes in. In fact, in the on the first game first shot, just like this one, it's in the back of the net. It's Derek Etienne Jr. He scored from Petretta and Bernadeschi to give TFC a 1-0 lead. I think that's also the first goal that Derek Etienne Jr. has scored for TFC ever since he came to this team. But nevertheless, Bernadeschi puts it over from long range, as I thought Toronto has been the better team early as they were looking for more. Ojeda though hits one right to Johnson in the 13th minute, but then in the 26th minute, Ojeda would score. He scored from Angulo and Torres to tie the game up at one apiece, and that was just some optional defending there from TFC. That also has been a common theme, at least in the past couple of games where again their defense has just completely fall apart. And it's no surprise that as soon as their defenses fall apart, which was kind of well their strength, at least in the beginning of the season, they're starting to revert back to the form that they were in 2023. But in the 34th minute, Janssen would put it wide from close range. Also, that optional defending was them just allowing a free header there from Ojeda in the box. Like you cannot do that and not expect it to concede. But that being said, I also thought the TFC had no answer in terms of defending these crosses. Like these crosses, there was just so many times where there's an Orlando City player who find himself with acres of space to hit and TFC was just not marking very well in terms of defending these crosses. Though that being said, in the 39th minute, Insigne did bend one just wide from long range, and then in the 45th minute, Orlando would take the lead. It's Gomez, the one that scores the own goal there. I think this one, of course, took a deflection. I think it was Falco Torres, the one that crosses this one, and it took a deflection off of Gomez, who unfortunately puts it into his own net. And yeah, that kind of sums up the luck that TFC has been having lately. When you're not playing well, and especially you're in a free fall like TFC has been in these last month or so, yeah, it's no surprise that these kind of moments just kind of goes against you. But Orlando wouldn't care. They were leading 2-1 at this point, and that would be the scoreline heading into the second half. Now, in the second half, not much happened early in the second half. Flores would put it wide from long range for Mbika. Would put it high on the header as I thought TFC was creating some chances, uh, but most of these ones weren't really clear-cut chances whatsoever. Oh, as I said, that Galese actually had to make a big save here to deny Thompson as he was pushing this shot onto the post. And then Moriel actually had a chance to finish. He was in on goal. Here he had a chance to bury this one, but he puts this one wide, and then he had another chance just a couple of minutes later, but he also puts it wide from close range. And that's when I kind of think, will these chances kind of come back to haunt Orlando? Because we've seen it before that when you miss chances like this late in the game, especially you only have a 1 goal lead and you're the road team, it's going to come back to eventually haunt you. But fortunately for Orlando, it didn't. They get the 3 points in this one, a 2-1 win that they had against Toronto. Shots in this one, 13 shots for both of these teams, 1 shot on goal for the two that Orlando has. Both team had 5 shots off target. Both team had 5 shots that was blocked, and possession was 58% possession compared to 42% possession that Orlando City has in this game. So Orlando, again, this has been kind of what has them keep them afloat in terms of trying to make it to the playoffs, which is these road performances. They've definitely been a better team this season on the road compared to when they're playing at home. But that's also so not easy to see when they're playing against a TFC team that, like I said, reality is definitely hitting this TFC team hard. And it's pretty clear that as we said in the beginning of the season, we knew this team was going to go through a growing pain, and that the season is pretty much just going to be a beginning of a deep rebuild. And while they definitely had a great start to the season, and I know TFC fans will be very frustrated that they have now pretty much thrown that away. I mean, we kind of knew that, of course, was going to be the case where they were going to be regretting back to the mean, and they have definitely regret back to the mean in these past both games. But that being said, I am now going to switch boards and try to finish the last four game in my very broken voice that I have in this part one of the review, which, by the way, I didn't even mention. I'm actually looking at the first 8 games in terms of part one of these midweek games review, but mention it right now, and I'm going to now switch the board and look at the last 4 games as part one of this review of the midweek action on this 4th of July holiday. But moving on, in the last 2 games, as I kind of had to stop the video because I just completely could not talk after I finished reviewing this game. But in these last 2 games, I'm gonna be talking about my team, and I want to also say that it's been now over a month since I've seen my team win a game. It has not been great in terms of how my team has gone. Well, one of those obviously is owned by John Fisher, and you probably know what happened when that is the case. But for Minnesota, my word, this has been rough. I mean, they have now done something that even Adrian Heath didn't do during his tenure, and that of course is losing 5 in a row after losing this one 3-1 at home against the Whitecaps, and it got off to a disastrous start in this one. As in the 4th minute, Brian White would score from Ryan Gaul to give Vancouver a 1-0 lead, and of all players to commit a WTF turnover at the back. So I had to pause the video because I was actually about to cough, and I don't want to basically cough while I'm on the video. But that being said, now let's talk about these last two games, which is involving my team. And did I mention the fact that my team has not won a single game since June 2nd? It's been now over a month since I've seen my team won a game, and it just kind of shows you how how bad it's been in terms of the team that I root for, that both of them are basically collapsing at the same time. Though, again, one of those teams, of course, is owned by John Fisher, so what did you expect that was going to happen? Can't say the same about Minnesota, though, because my word, for Minnesota, this team has completely self-destruct ever since the beginning of the international break in June and also in the Copa America tournament. And I get it. Yes, they've been dealing with a lot of injuries and dealing with a lot of absences due to international duty. But yeah, this is bad to see how they have now reached a mark that not even Adrian Heap did during any of his time in charge of this Minnesota United team. And of course, is losing five in a row, and that was confirmed in this game against the Whitecaps. And it got off to probably the worst possible way because in the fourth man stoppage time, Brian White, or fourth man stoppage time, sorry, the fourth minute of the game, that is, Brian White would score from Ryan Gold to give the Whitecaps a 1-0 lead, and you know things are not going well when Michael Boxall, a player that has just been so sturdy at the back line for this Minnesota team over the year, he commits a WTF turnover and just kind of gave this one right to Ryan Gall in his own box. So yeah, again, that just kind of sums up how bad things has gone for this team, and it also doesn't improve when I thought the Whitecaps had most of the possession and they kind of controlled the first 20 minutes or so, and the Loons off to another slow start at home, and it gets even worse for them because in the 17th minute, Laporta would score from Ryan goal to make it 2-0 in favor of the Whitecaps, just non-existing set piece defending whatsoever for the Loons. There is no way in the world Laporta should have such an easy time to hit this one into the back of net off of that set piece. Just, again, poor marking from the Loons. And just like that, Vancouver would we're up 2-0 in this one. Lud then had an empty net to shoot here, but his shot was actually blocked there. And I gotta say, Taco is very thankful of his teammate and his defender too, because he got away with trying to play it out the back here. Basically got pickpocket as a result of that. I don't even need to say again how many times I've seen goalkeeper does that and how many times goalkeeper basically get punished because of that. So Takoga probably is considers himself lucky that he's not one of those goalkeeper. Though that being said, penalty was given to Minnesota after Veselinovic or Udwig handball. Did I couldn't tell who actually handballed it. It was kind of between those two players. It looks like both of them did handball it, but nevertheless, it was a penalty that was given to Minnesota, and Rosal steps up to try to get one back from for Minnesota, and it didn't happen because Tacoga denied Rosales from the spot. It was not a really good penalty there from Rosales. And by the way, I don't know why Robin Love doesn't take these penalties nowadays. Like he usually is the designated penalty kick taker besides Reynoso. When Reynoso, of course, was absent, and obviously we know Reynoso is no longer with this team. So why in the world are we sending guys like Will Trapp and Rosales in the last two games to take the penalty? And while Will Trapp did convert his spot, I'm surprised Rosales, of course, got the chance to take this one, and I have a feeling he probably won't take another one after this one. Though he kind of got bailed out too, because in the 30th minute, really on the ensuing corner, Hawane would score from Dotson and Rosales to tie the game up or not tie the game, but at least get one back for Minnesota up to this point. I wish that the game was tied up at after that goal, but it was 2-1 up to this point in favor of the Whitecaps. Berhalter then puts it wide on the free kick before Lud would find the side netting in the back post. I thought it was a little better for the Loons, at least on the attack up to that point. Boxall would then heads it wide from the corner, but we do head to halftime with Vancouver leading 2-1. In the second half, Sunbin puts it wide from close range, and it looks like it was actually deflected wide, but the referee says it's a goal kick, even though that clearly looked like it took a deflection and it should have been a corner. The Loons again, they seems like they have more of the possession, more of the control as the Whitecaps start to look to sit back and counter. And in the 61st minute, they restored their two-goal lead as Sebastian Berhalter would score from goal to make it 3-1 in favor of the Whitecaps. And not only the fact that that was considered a goal of the week, because what a goal that was from Sebastian Berhalter, and yet another long range goal that Minnesota gave up in a game. I mean, this season, I feel like for whatever reason, this team have given up so many long range goal and just been so unlucky because of it. But there was no doubt that that was a momentum killer for the Loons because it looked like things were building up. It looked like they had a chance to tie this game up, but now they found themselves down 2 goals again. Taco got then denied Longwane from close before White puts it over as the flag, of course, went up. Balloons defense up to this point has been no show once again. It's been no show in the last couple of games, so I'm not surprised that of course is the case again, and it also just shows you how I think the president of Ariaga is definitely solely missed in this game, and unfortunately, this is going to be something that they're going to have to deal with the not only for the rest of the season, but really until they need to find a solution because they've just sold Ariana a couple of days ago. And although I get it in a business standpoint, the fact that they didn't find any replacement for him is really concerning heading into the future of this team. Lawani then puts one to Wisconsin as it was just one of those nights too for the Loons where they just could not finish. So in this game, it basically just showed you the bad problem of Minnesota just can't defend the last couple of games, and also the bad problem of the Loons at times playing at Allianz Field just cannot finish. Even if their life depends on besides the one set piece goal that they had. But the shots were 12-4 for Minnesota up to this point. Fragapani would then miss high from long range before Longwane would put it wide on the header, but therefore then puts it high from the volley before Tapias would puts it high in the back post. And yeah, in the end, Whitecaps, they win 3-1 in this one. 5 straight loss now that Minnesota has suffered. That's the first time that it's ever happened in franchise history. Shots in this one, 17 shots for the 6 that Vancouver has, 5 shots on goal compared to the 4 that Vancouver has, 1 shots off target compared to 8 that Minnesota has, 4 shots that was blocked compared to none that Vancouver has, and possession-wise, 56% possession compared to 44% possession that Vancouver has in this game. And I also would give credit to the Whitecaps. I thought that they play a perfect road game in this one where they took advantage of the limited chances that they had, show their clinical finishing, and absorb the pressure that Minnesota, of course, put on them a couple of times. But at the end of the day, for this Minnesota team, I said this for the last 4 losses in a row, and I'll say it again for now the 5th straight loss in a row. Reinforcement is desperately needed for this team. There is no doubt, in my opinion, that even if they do get some of these players back due to injury and international duty, and even if they do get Tani and Dane Sinclair back in this team is not going to move. It is going to start magically winning a game. It is pretty clear that reinforcement is desperately needed, especially on the defensive front. And I'm just begging the Flume front office to do so in the summer because if they don't, this is going to be something we're going to see more and more for the rest of the season. And I would not be surprised they might be out of the playoff contention by the end of the season. And that would be just so frustrating to see because, again, this team got off to such a good start. And now it seems like it's like things have started to catch up on them, and they're starting to be kind of like in the same situation that I described what Toronto FC is finding themselves in as of now as well. But that being said, moving on into the last game, so this shouldn't be a surprise, should it? I mean, I knew coming into this game with the way that St. Louis, after decided to part way with Bradley Carnell, they of course will not only get the new interim head coach boost, but they get to play against a team that literally is a free points every single week. That is the San Jose Earthquakes. Now, in the first half, 1 minute in, Collingwood puts it high 15 seconds into this game before Leuven would puts it wide from long range, as I thought St. Louis was on the front foot. It was a typical slow start for the Quakes on the road. Berkey then denied Judd, as that was the Quakes' first shot before Forensen would miss wide on the doorstep of goal. Yarbrough then denied signs from close range, as St. Louis was definitely pressing for the opener up to this point. Marker would then miss wide from close, but then in the 28th minute, moving with score. He scored from Vasiliev to give St. Louis a 1-0 lead. And I mean, road, this has to be well the last time, if not the last time I see Yarbrough between the stake because we know Yarbrough it is bad this season, and the number backs up too. I mean, statistically, he's the worst goalkeeper of all the metric as a starting goalkeeper in MLS, and I think this goal kind of just shows you why. I mean, this one was kind of hit right toward him, and he just dropped it, and it goes in to the back of the net. I swear, whoever thought that it was a great idea to bring William Yarbrough and think that he was a quality starting goalkeeper after such a nightmare of a year that he has with the Rapids. Yeah, that just also shows you how the front office of this Wakes team just pretty much is as bad as the performance that this team is doing overall. And then just 13 minutes later, St. Louis would double their lead as Jose Kojima would score from Vasiliev here to double the lead for St. Louis, and that also is the first career MLS goal for Jose Kojima. Not surprising because he's definitely been pushing to try and score his first career MLS goal. He has also got one goal already for St. Louis. And that was back in the CONCACAF Champions Cup. But finally, he's happy to say that he's finally got his first career MLS goal. And just like that, St. Louis was leading 2-0. It was all St. Louis up to this point. It was pretty much man against boys. And it could have got ugly if Fornson didn't have a shot that was clear off the line in the 45th minute. And we do head to halftime with St. Louis leading 2-0. In the second half, Espinoza would miss one from close before Kikanovic would hit the side netting from close range. But Darren then hits one right to Yarbrough. Not surprised to see Samuel Darren back in this St. Louis side because, we already talked about how there seems to be some disagreement between some players and Bradley Carnell that maybe led to the firing of Bradley Carnell. And I think one of those player was Samuel Darren. He's been kind of been on the doghouse of Bradley Carnell this season, and no surprise that he's now out of that doghouse now that Bradley Carnell is no longer there. But the shots were 20-3 up to this point for St. Louis. Yeah, it was a total domination up to this point. Watts then hits it wide from close range before Beeson had a rare chance for the Quakes, but he missed wide there in the second minute stoppage time. And yeah, in the end, it doesn't get any easier than this for St. Louis. They get their first win of what seems like for a while with a 2-0 win. The shots in this one, 23 shots compared to just 7 that the Quakes had. 1 shots on goal compared to 7 that St. Louis had. 10 shots off target compared to 2 that the Quakes had. Both teams had 4 shots off block, and possession-wise, 56% possession the 44% possession the Quakes has in this game. And keep in mind of what I said earlier about me not seeing any of my team winning ever since June 2nd. There's a chance that, of course, can come to an end because I think in a couple of weeks the Quakes will play against Minnesota. Though there could also be a chance that it can end in a draw, which again that would not be a surprise that if that is the case because man, I'm just cursed right now when it comes to seeing my team win. What does it take to finally see my team get a win? Obviously, I shouldn't ask that about the Quakes because I've said before I kind of almost stopped caring about the Quakes for the past couple of weeks because it's pretty clear that ownership doesn't care. These are kind of the resort that just shows you why this team is a bottom feeder for so long now, and that I don't even want to say this is 2018 all over again. This has been just almost a regular occurrence, and as I said before, it's getting to a point where I almost don't really care when the Quakes are losing or really care about this team at all because you can't really just keep putting energy on a team that basically will kind of put these bad performance week in and week out as we have seen pretty much throughout this entire season. And I would say that for St. Louis, congratulations. You get the sweepstake of a free win when you play against a team like the San Jose Earthquakes. But there you have it. That is pretty much it for the review of this video. First of all, thank goodness that I'm actually done with this review. And I know that sounds strange for me to say, but after me doing this with a bad voice like I've been doing for the past 50 minutes, it's almost a miracle the fact that I made it and that I hope you guys enjoy this video, even though it was a little bit bad quality because of my voice. And also I want to mention that I'll try my best to do the remaining review. I still got 5 games to talk about, including the free games on 4th of July and then of course El Tráfico. But until then, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you guys leave a like, smash the subscribe button, and yeah, I of course will see you guys next time.